Hi everyone, welcome back to my lab. If you're new to my channel, I'm Yori and I bring you beauty and makeup videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 9 a.m. Central. Hopefully you'll subscribe and join my little makeup family. To my existing YouTube friends, thank you so much for joining me for today's video, which is going to be my 2017 favorites. I was really worried that I was going to miss something as I was pulling things out from my makeup collection, and if I did, you'll be sure to see it in a future video because I love sharing my favorite makeup products with you. So let's go ahead and get started. I decided to leave skincare products out of this video because I'm at a point in my beauty regime where I'm just learning about skincare, and so I don't want to put anything in here that I don't fully understand yet. So stay tuned for a skincare video from me sometime in the future as I learn more. So all of it is going to be makeup. I don't necessarily have a specific order for you. I just have a pile of products here in front of me, so I'll just get started and hopefully it'll make some kind of sense. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about were my two favorite foundations, and the first foundation is the Kogan Dough Aqua Foundation, and I have mine in the shade 143. I've mentioned this on my channel many times before. It is a pricey foundation and it also comes in only like 6 shades, which is really terrible and really sad, but it is a fantastic foundation and I do love it, and I reserve this for very special occasions. It's a water-based foundation and I have dry skin, and when I use this it melts into my skin so easily, but yet gives me really good coverage. My preference is for light to medium coverage, and this definitely does that for me. It blends beautifully and everything else sits so nicely on top of it. I always feel my best when I'm wearing this foundation, and that is a favorite. I have another foundation which was a huge surprise for me. This is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Foundation, and mine is in the shade 270. More than any other foundation in my collection, this one matches my skin tone perfectly. I've not found another foundation in another line that matches me quite so well as much as this one. When the Fenty Beauty line launched, I purchased a whole bunch of the products and I did review them on my channel. Almost everybody was doing that. I was really hesitant about this foundation because it's a soft matte foundation, and me being dry skin, matte is never my preferred finish of makeup, and matte foundations usually don't sit well on my skin. I've tried lots of really hyped up matte foundations or really well loved ones that just haven't worked for me, but this one really did. I was careful to go in with hydrating primers and make sure I was really moisturized whenever I was wearing it, but it sat on my skin beautifully and I'm so happy that it did. Since the shade match was so good, I'm really loving this foundation. My daughter loves it too, and she's more combination skin type. This was just a really good product that launched this year and I love it. I have two powders to share with you. The first one is the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder. This doesn't necessarily take the place of my favorite powder of last year, which was the Too Faced Prime and Poreless Pressed Powder, but I do love this one when I do have the time to work with a loose powder. See, I prefer something pressed because I'm very often on the run, on the go, and having to do my makeup very quickly, and something like this can be a little bit more messy and tedious. When I'm in a rush, I don't reach for this, but when I have time, I definitely do, because the finish is really lovely and it does sort of work as a filter on your face. It sets very well underneath my eyes, and that's the main area where I use it. Sometimes I'll use it to clean up my contour, and sometimes I will dust a little bit all over the face depending on how I'm feeling that day. But it's a really great powder for dry skin, and those are hard to find. The other powder that I was super impressed with is by MAC Cosmetics, and this is the Next to Nothing Powder Pressed. I have mine in the shade medium dark, which to be honest is a little bit too dark for me right now, but when I first bought this it was closer to summer and I tend to get a little more color in the summertime. I'm still able to use it because it's such a fine powder that it doesn't put a lot of color, but it does give you just a little bit more coverage, and I love the way that it sets on top of my foundation. And again, like the Too Faced powder, this is a powder that looks really nice on my dry skin, and again, that's super hard to come by, and I really enjoy this to set all over my face. It's a really nice powder and I highly recommend it. I have a contour palette that I absolutely love. Nothing gives me a finish like this palette does, and I apologize for the reflection. It's very hard to show it on camera, but this is what it looks like, and it's just a beautiful palette. I did a full review on this palette on my channel much earlier in the year, and I have remained so impressed with this. I know I recommended it in my Sephora VIB sale video. I don't know what it is about the powders are just so beautiful, and they sit really nicely on my skin, and even if I just apply this palette, my face is just perfect perfected. My complexion is very perfected. I prefer to use this palette when I have a little bit more time to do my makeup because there are a lot of steps. You obviously don't have to do all 6 steps if you don't want to, but the effect of the 6 steps is so beautiful that it's definitely worth it. But you could of course just use the contour and the highlight if you so desire to do that. And as a matter of fact, I probably should take my own advice and do the same so that I can get a lot more use out of this palette. I just love it so much. I know that it's pricey at $89, but you do get a lot of product and they work together beautifully. And the packaging on this palette is really pretty and genius in that they separated the creams from the powder with this plastic flap that sits flush to the palette so you don't have any cross-contamination. If you want to see it in action, I encourage you to check out my video. I have a side-by-side before and after that will tell you everything you need to know about this palette. I love it so much. Another face product that I absolutely adore, and I know I'm in a minority for this one, but this is the Too Faced Bronzed Peach Melting Powder Bronzer infused with peach and sweet fig cream. This is a bronzer from the Too Faced Peaches and Cream collection, and it's a cream to powder bronzer, so it applies more like a cream, and I use more like a foundation type synthetic brush to apply it. I love this so much. First of all, it smells amazing, so it's a pleasure to use. If you don't like fragrance products, you probably won't like this, but I enjoy the fragrances in my makeup if they're not too overpowering or florally. But this one it smells amazing, and it just looks so nice on my skin. It's very easy for me to use this on even no makeup days because it applies really nicely over my bare skin or over foundation. It works well both ways and I really love it. This has been my favorite bronzer this year. If I'm picking a powder bronzer, then I will still stick with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, which was my favorite last year, but this one has really impressed me. It surprised me a lot as well. I swatched it in store and I was just curious because it's just a different feel. It feels very creamy, but it dries like a powder. It's very hard to explain, but it blends so nicely and it's just the right amount of warmth for my personal skin tone, and I love this. I hope they never stop making this. For my blush, I've actually been reaching for a palette and using it very frequently. This is the NARS Narcissist Unfiltered 1 blush palette. This came out way earlier this year or maybe at the end of last year, but this is what the palette looks like. And these blushes are so pigmented, but they blend so beautifully. I've worn everything in this palette except for this one. For some reason, that one just doesn't appeal to me much, but you have a highlighter in this palette and it works really well. And even this blush right here, which is called Exhibit A, and it's permanent to the NARS line, I've worn that. I go in with a very light hand using a brush that I'll show you in a little bit, and it actually sits nicely on my skin and I love it. What I love about this palette is that there's a little bit of everything. There's a more neutral blush right here, which you can wear if you're wearing bolder looks, but then you also have very bold blushes that you can use if you have sort of a wing eyeliner and bold lipstick maybe, and they look great. And even this one here, it doesn't look like much in the pan, but when you apply it, it gives you a beautiful flush, and they're blushes that last you a good long time. I think NARS blushes are amazing. When I'm traveling, I take it with me as well because it gives me all the options that I need. So I think that this is a really good one. I think that this was a limited edition item, but it may be still available, I'm not sure. But if I'm perfectly honest, this has been my favorite of the year and I just wanted to share it with you. Next, I wanted to share some highlighter favorites, and the first one is from Dose of Colors, and this comes from the Desi Katie collaboration. I reviewed that on my channel as well, and this one is in the shade Mírame. I was so impressed when I applied this highlight. Like, this is the highlight shade that is perfect for my glow to the gods highlight. It doesn't look like much in the pan, but when I apply it on my skin, it transforms and it looks so good. It's definitely not my everyday highlighter, but I do love it because because of its intensity, and that intensity is apparent almost immediately. You could definitely build it up if you want, but it is visible already on a first swipe, and it blends so nicely. It wears so nicely throughout the day. This was a great product. I think that they should make this permanent to their line. I haven't tried any of the Dose of Colors existing highlighters that are not limited editions, so I don't know how the formula compares, but this one was really, really great. I loved it. If you picked it up from the collection, that was a great move because this is a beautiful, beautiful highlight. Another highlighter, and this is fairly new to my favorites, so I don't think I'm cheating. I definitely discovered it within the past couple of months, but this is the Flower Beauty highlighting palette. It's the Shimmer and Strobe highlighting palette. I received this as a gift from my best friend, and I love this palette. I like this palette because it gives you an affordable option. It's a beautiful palette, and you have sort of every tone that you might want. You have more of a neutral option, a more gold option, and a more rose gold option, and if you mix and match the shades, they blend together beautifully, and you could definitely customize your shade. This one just looks so nice on the skin, and it is definitely more on the bold realm. On an everyday basis, I tend to use more cream highlighters because again, I have dry skin and I don't wear foundation every day and things like that, but when I do, this is a perfect option to go to because it's bold, it's beautiful, and it doesn't emphasize texture or anything like that, and it looks really, really pretty, and I really, really love it. Now, on a more day-to-day basis, I'm using this one from Cover FX, and this one is the Enhance Click Accent Highlighter in the shade Bubbly. I know that these were recently on sale on Sephora, so I purchased another shade, but this is the shade I used almost all year for work days and things like that. I will go in with my Too Faced bronzer, and then I will apply a little bit of this to the tops of my cheekbones, and it lasts all day, but not in an obnoxious way. It's one that blends out really, really nicely. They have a lot of shades in this range, and they blend so nice. Like, I can literally pat it on and tap it in with my fingers, and it blends beautifully. I love the way it looks throughout the day. It definitely gives you that glow, more of like a wet look, so it looks a little more natural than the powder highlights that I referred to, and it's a little more work appropriate for me personally. Last year I was using the Becca Poured Skin Perfectors, and I still love those, but this was my discovery this year, and it's great, and it's a really handy alternative as well because the packaging is just super convenient. It's very small. You can carry it around with you, although you really don't need to because it does stay put. You'll definitely still see this at the end of your workday. I'm looking around to make sure I don't miss anything. Let's go ahead and do a couple of lip products. One product that I discovered this year was the Bite Beauty Agave Lip Mask. This is an amazing lip mask, which I honestly use more as a balm. I definitely use it as a mask when I go to bed, but I also wear it all day long as a balm, and I love what this does for my lips. I know that Oralia recommended that I try the La Mer one, which is on my list of things to do, but that is pricey, and during the holiday season I was of course buying gifts for others, but that's definitely on my list of things to try. But I've been really enjoying this one. I don't like the packaging that much. I realize as I use it up more and more because the tube is a little bit difficult to squeeze, and even though I have definitely opened the edge of it, it doesn't flow that nicely. I haven't had the full size because this one is lasting me a good long time, so maybe the full size one is a little less trouble, but the product inside is fantastic, and I really, really have enjoyed this. It's been really good for my lips, which are normally dry and chapped, especially this time of year. It's freezing cold in Chicago. Another lip favorite that I've mentioned several times on my channel is the Wet n Wild Gel Lip Liner. I've been so impressed with this. This is so creamy. It is a twist up lip liner, and I have since purchased several more, so I have a couple more in my collection, and they're all great. I really recommend these. They are very affordable. I think they're about $5, but they work so well. I don't have to press on my lips as I outline. It just goes on so smoothly, and this is a drugstore gem, and I will always want to have these in my collection. As far as my everyday lip product, it hasn't changed from my favorite from last year, which was the YSL. It's not even in my makeup collection right now because it lives in my purse. It's the YSL Tint in Oil. It's a gold, beautiful package. That's my go-to lip product on a daily basis because it's sort of an oily balm but with pigment on it, and I love it. But what is new this year is the Dose of Colors liquid lipsticks. I've tried a lot of liquid lipsticks now and I love a lot of formulas, but this one is hands down my favorite for many reasons. One is the price point. These are about $17 or $18 a piece. That's more affordable than some of the other liquid lipsticks that are available that run more in like the $20 to $28 range. So I really enjoy that about these. I do love that they are super pigmented, almost without exception. Out of all the shades that I've had, I've only had problem with one shade, and that's more of a pastel shade, which someone commented that the white pigment sometimes messes up the formula, and I totally could see that. So almost without exception, I've loved every shade that I've owned, and I own several. I also have the ones from the Decay collaboration, and those are beautiful. These are just, in my opinion, the most comfortable to wear for extended periods of time, as well as the most pigmented, and then also their shade range is really incredible. They have a lot of different shades for you to choose from, and I think that there's really something for everyone in this line. I'm super excited that Ulta is starting to carry this in store, because I know how hard it is to order something online and you don't know how it's gonna be, and that's how it used to be with Dose of Colors, but I think that enough people have really enjoyed the brand so much that now Ulta Beauty is carrying it in store, and that's great. I did want to mention a couple of brush favorites before I get into eye products that I've really loved this year. I wanted to mention my Anastasia Beverly Hills A23 brush. This is a highlighting brush. This brush will work with almost any highlighter at all, and it just applies it really nice. It picks up the product really well, and it blends it out nicely as well. I like that it's not too big, but then also it's not too small. It's not the softest brush, to be honest. Like, I would never call this brush soft, but it does such a good job at what it's supposed to do that I really love it. Another brush that I discovered this year is this teeny tiny smoky eye brush Petite, and this one is by Surat Beauty, and I just love this little brush for blending my crease. This brush will blend anything, and I love also that it is natural fiber, so it is natural hair. I do love that it releases the product, so you don't have to wash this brush so often. Even if I use a very pigmented shadow, if I rub this brush on a microfiber cloth or on a color switch, it releases the pigment and it's ready to use again. Also, since the hairs are dark, you really can't see the eyeshadow on it, so it doesn't look as dirty. And the reason why I'm making a big point of that is not because I don't like washing my makeup brushes, because I actually do. I find it like therapeutic. I'll put on YouTube, I'll watch some favorites videos or something like that and zone out washing my brushes. I actually really like it. But you don't want to wash natural hair brushes that much, because then it starts to damage the fibers or the hair. So for that reason, I really love that this one doesn't need it. Even though it's an eyeshadow brush and I can use it with very pigmented shadows, it just doesn't need to be washed that much. I actually use this brush to help me create the eye look I'm wearing today, and you can see I'm wearing a lot of dark shadows. So I wanted to mention that one. Another one that I wanted to mention is this one by e.l.f., and this is the e.l.f. Professional Concealer Brush. This is a $1 brush, and it is a little workhorse, and I need to show it some love because I use it every single week for my makeup. If I'm doing anything elaborate, I will use this brush. I don't use it for concealer. I use it for cut creases. I use it for cleaning up my brows. I use it for putting on glitter glue. This is just a workhorse of a brush. I even use it to make wing liner with gel eyeliner, and it works great. Only $1. I have a couple of them in my collection because one is always dirty. I use it so much. This is definitely a favorite, and I love it. The last brush I wanted to mention is fairly new to my collection as well. This is the Goss Airbrush, and this is the Rose Gold limited edition one. This is another natural hair brush. This one is Blue Squirrel, and similar to the Surat Beauty brush, it also releases color really well. It picks up color very nicely. I mentioned the NARS blush, that red blush. I can apply it with this, and it just looks so beautiful. It's a multitasking brush. Like, I can't really define it for any one thing. I can use it to powder under my eyes. I can use it for contour. I can use it for blush. I can use it for highlight. I can use it for bronzer. If you've seen Wayne Goss's video on this brush, he talks about splaying it out. so soft, so it opens up. You could really apply your bronzer with it. It's not my preference for bronzer, but blush, highlight, contour, setting under my eyes, I love it for all those purposes, and it is so soft. It used to be the softest brush I owned until I bought his limited edition holiday brush. Oh my goodness, that one is super soft. But this brush, it just feels wonderful. This one is the limited edition rose gold one, which I think is still available, but it also comes with a traditional black handle if you prefer your brushes to sort of look uniform. I enjoy having this one. It's really pretty and also very, very functional. All right, so I think I'm ready to move on to eye products. I wanted to mention the Marc Jacobs highliners. You're probably also sick of hearing about these on my channel, but they are just so good. I'm wearing this brown one in my waterline and also in my tight line today. This is the shade Earthquake. They do come in shimmer and matte finishes, and I've come to realize that I do enjoy all of them, but the matte ones are my absolute favorites and the ones that I recommend the most. The shimmer ones, you kind of have to keep sharpening them, and it's not a traditional sharpener. It's this little plastic piece that comes out of the end of the pencil, and you can sort of remove some of the cream from the tip of the pencil to make it fresh again. I find that the shimmery ones, you have to do that a lot more often if you want the pigment to translate, especially to your waterline. But these, they're so easy to use. Like, you just apply and the pigment is already there. So my favorite and my preference is for the matte ones, even though the shimmer ones, they're pretty nice too, but these are the ones that I absolutely love. This isn't really an eye product. This is sort of eye area. It's a brow pencil. Last year, I believe that my favorite brow product was the Anastasia Brow Wiz, and this year, or was it last year? Maybe it was fall of last year that Benefit released these products, and this is the second time I have to pull this out of my empties bin to put it in a video. This is the Precisely My Brow Pencil from Benefit, and it looks like a little arrow. I love this pencil, and I have to say that it has taken the place of my Anastasia Brow Wiz. The Brow Wiz is still a great product, but I like this one better because I feel like I don't have to press as hard to get my brows on, and the Brow Wiz is a little bit more waxy, and I feel like I have to press harder to get the pigment to translate. With this one, that's not the case. I do prefer a fine tip pencil, which is what this one is. I've really been missing it in my collection. I bought a backup, but I have it in a box somewhere. I definitely have to bring it back out because I am missing this pencil. It's the best so far, for me personally. For mascara, my favorite mascara this year has been the Burberry Cat Lashes mascara, and I have mine in the shade number 2, which is chestnut brown. I haven't mentioned this on my channel too much. I guess I've been trying other kinds of mascaras as well, but on a day-to-day basis, this is the mascara I use. If you see, it has plastic bristles and it has an hourglass shape. I actually enjoy the plastic bristles. I feel that they give me the most length, but what I really enjoy about this mascara is it's a wet formula. If you do not like wet formula mascaras, this is not for you. You will hate this, especially at the beginning. When you first get it, it is a super wet formula, but I really like it. I always use a mascara primer, and I find that it just coats my lashes and lengthens them so nicely and separates them as well. So for my everyday makeup look, this is perfect for what I like. It's a pricey mascara, but I can see myself definitely purchasing it over and over again. It's really nice. It's not waterproof, and so if it gets wet or if you cry, you'll definitely be crying a river of mascara, so it's not for that purpose. I wouldn't recommend it for weddings or anything like that, but for an everyday wear, it's a really nice mascara, and I love what it does for my lashes, so I just wanted to mention that. And before we get to the eyeshadow palettes, I wanted to give a mention to the ColourPop Supernova eyeshadows. These, in my opinion, are very similar to the Stila glitters, and I love the Stila glitters, but I have been more impressed by these because of the price point. They have started releasing more shades, and so I bought a couple more, and every time I wear them, it gives me a very special finish to my eye look, and I get a lot of compliments on them. I just think that they're a very great affordable option, and the Stila glitters are beautiful as well, but this is not a bad find, and I just think that ColourPop did a great job with these, and I'm always recommending them. So I definitely wanted to mention Supernova shadows as a yearly favorite. Alright, so if you're anything like me, this is the moment you've been waiting for, the eyeshadow palette favorites. I selected my eyeshadow palettes really carefully to sort of represent different aspects of my life. You'll see what I mean. So from my eyeshadow palettes, I have one affordable favorite, and it is from e.l.f. And I've mentioned this on my channel before. This is the Mad for Matte 2 palette. The shadows in here are of impressive quality. If you did not see the label, you would think that you were working with higher end eyeshadows because these just work so well. They're a little bit more dry of a formula, but the color that you see is the color that you get. There's a black in the palette, which is great for deepening the outer corner, and it's a very tiny compact palette. It's only $10, and I just think it's great. If you like matte eyeshadows the way I do, especially on a day-to-day basis, I just think that this is a really nice palette. It's super travel friendly. It's so compact, and the packaging is actually really nice and sturdy, and you have a full-length mirror across the side of the palette. It's a good one. I really enjoy this one. The next palette I wanted to mention may actually come as a surprise, and I don't think it's one that you're going to see in everybody's video. This one is by Ciate London, and I picked this up on a recent trip to New York City, and I had never seen Ciate eyeshadows in store, and I swatched this one. You can see that this palette is really well loved. What I love about this palette is that it suits my personality perfectly. It has neutral tones so that I can make an everyday work appropriate makeup look, but it also has beautiful bright pops of colors that I can use for more bright and fun looks, I guess. I really love the way that these eyeshadows blend. They really blend themselves, and the quality is just amazing. The layout is really fun as well. It also has a mirror, and if you look at the packaging, it's so fun. It winks, if you can see that. There's other variations of palettes in this line. This was not a release from this year. I couldn't resist this. Like, this just is everything I am in one tiny little palette. I really like it. This one is called the Fun palette, but they have the Pretty palette and one other one. Those are on my wish list for Sephora right now, just because I was so impressed with the palette. I like this one so much that I bought the Chloe Morello Ciate collaboration. I haven't used it yet, but I did purchase it, and I look forward to using it just because this one I love so much, and it's super travel friendly. It fits right in the palm of my hand. The packaging is very sturdy as well, so you don't have to worry about your shadows getting damaged if you're traveling with this one. It's a good one, and not one that I think you're gonna be seeing in everybody's video. And now for Pat McGrath. These Mothership eye palettes, they are special. There's something super special. I love having this in my collection. I do own all three now, but if I had to pick a favorite, I believe this one is the Sublime palette. There is just a little bit of differentiation in the eyeshadows. I think that this one, like the Ciate palette, you're able to get everyday kind of colors with the more neutral shades, but you also have those special pops of color like here and here. These shadows, especially the glitter ones on the end, they are so beautiful. I mentioned in my review that it's the most sophisticated glitter that you will ever see, and it's just, I enjoy these palettes so much. They are definitely palettes that I use for special occasions and when I want to pamper myself, just have fun with makeup. The mattes in the palettes are actually really great quality as well. They're very creamy mattes, and this black is the most pigmented black in my collection so far. They're really good palettes. They're pricey. Quality and beauty of this packaging is just incredible. Like this, you know you're holding something really special in your hands, and I love it. I really enjoyed them. Along a similar price point, and also another makeup artist brand, is the Natasha Denona palette, and the one I'm selecting to feature is the Sunset palette. I do also have the Lila palette and the Star palette and her holiday palette. If I'm going to do a neutral look, it's going to most likely be a warm tone look, and so this palette is perfect for that. It has beautiful shades. Look at those. And the mattes in these palettes are really nice. I believe that when she started coming out with the Sunset palette, she reformulated the matte formula to have the creamy matte finish. I've just loved this palette so much. It's definitely a warm tone palette, so if you're not a warm tone lover, you may prefer the Lila palette, which is a little more neutral to cool tone. I love them both, but this is the one that I chose to represent Natasha Denona in this video because I really do enjoy her eyeshadow formula as well. And now last but not least, for my eyeshadow palette favorites, I have the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. I have used every single shade in this palette except for this glitter because honestly I just don't want to deal with it. It looks like it's going to be messy and tedious. I will one of these days, but I have worn every single other shade and they are great. This one is more of a dry formula where the Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath were more creamy formulas. Even the Ciate palette's more of a creamy formula. These are a little bit more dry, a little bit more powdery, but they're also very pigmented, so a little goes a long way. And I love the color story here. It's got your warm tones, but you also have purples. I know that this one at $65 is still a little more pricey than a lot of the eyeshadow palettes on the market, but you are getting 18 shades here, and that's also a little bit more than the number of shades you would get in a traditional eyeshadow palette, which is usually like 12 or 10 shades. So this one you're getting 18 shades, so it is a little bit more, and they are really good quality. They blend very nicely. I have done a review of this on my channel as well, and I've done 2 looks using this palette, and it's just beautiful. I've been very, very happy with this eyeshadow palette, and every time I use it, I come out with a look that I enjoy. I actually did forget to mention some setting sprays. I have them sitting here, and they're always sitting here, so that's why I forgot to mention them. But the first one I wanted to mention is by Cover FX, and this is the Illuminating Setting Spray. Now, I think that this is a product that was a little misunderstood when it was first released. The mister on this is amazing. It's got the finest mist you ever saw. I actually got mine from a BoxyCharm, and I'm glad that I got it in a BoxyCharm because I would have been hesitant to try it otherwise because of all the bad reviews that it got. You do have to make sure you shake this product. There's like a marble inside to make sure that it shakes all the shimmers, because it does have very tiny fine shimmer particles that if you don't shake it, they could sit not so nicely on your skin. So you want to make sure you shake it before you apply it. It gives more of a dewy finish, and that's the finish that I prefer for my makeup looks. So that's why the Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray is one of my favorites. And even more favorite than that is this one, and I haven't had it for that long, and it's more than half gone because I use this every single day, whether I'm doing my everyday makeup look or if I'm doing something more elaborate. I use this to prime, set, and refresh, just like it says here. I'm less likely to use it for setting because I have setting sprays that I prefer to this one, but in between, to get all the powders to meld to your face, to hydrate, if you need a refresher, this is so nice. It smells so nice. It definitely has coconut water in it, and you can smell it when you apply it. The mister is pretty nice as well, although you want to hold this one a little further from your face when you spray it. It's silicone free, alcohol free, oil free, all those good things. I use it in all stages of my makeup, so I definitely recommend this one. And that's everything for this video. I don't think I forgot anyone, but if I did, you'll see it in a video soon enough. Let me know what your favorites were for this year, if we have any of the same, or if you have any recommendations of things I have to try. If you have a YouTube channel and you made a favorites video for 2017, please let me know in the comment section down below because I would love to watch it. I definitely always love watching YouTube, although I found that now that I upload a little more frequently, being 3 times a week, and I do have a full-time job, and I have a daughter and 3 fur babies, it's a little bit harder for me to find the time to watch more videos, and that makes me a little bit sad. As much as I enjoy making videos, I enjoy watching videos. I watched YouTube for a long time before I decided to start my channel, and so I miss that, and I do it absolutely every chance that I get. So if I have not visited your channel in a while, remind me in the comment section, and I would love to see what you're up to in your videos as well. And I'm sure you understand all of the work that goes into filming and editing and all that good stuff that we do as aspiring YouTubers. So anyway, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that 2017 was very, very good to you. And if not, then hopefully 2018 will bring lots of joy, happiness, and love to your life. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're having a great one. And I will see you again very, very soon on my next video. Bye-bye.